Welcome the students of class 6, welcome to our social science history class, and today in this class we are going to discuss another subunit from your chapter number 10, that is the name of the chapter is Traders, Kings and Pilgrims, and it is also present in your history book page number 101. Those have old NCERT book and those have new NCERT book, they can also follow this, and in their book it is in chapter number 9. Okay. So our today's subunit name that we will discuss today, that is the story of Silk Route. And from the name, the story of Silk Route, you can easily understand that today we are going to discuss about something about the silk. So do you know what is silk? Silk actually a fine fabric, and it is also a glossy as well as highly valued in our Indian market as well as all over the world. And different type of silk textiles also present in India and woven in different part of our country. South Indian silks are very famous also all over the world, and Bengal also long time ago the silk tradition was there, but today also very few places silk is woven, and it is highly valuable in most societies. But the process of making this silk is not so easy. So do you know that silk is produced by a tiny insect, like butterfly like insect. So when the insect, after a few days, when the insect started making a cover, a wrap that is called cocoon around its body with its saliva, and the cocoon collectors then collect those cocoons including the insect in it. After that, they put those cocoons into boiling water and they collected those cocoons, and then the silk thread comes out from the cocoons, and they spun the thread and wove the cloths. So in this way the silk were produced, and after that they colored it also. So the process of making silk from the cocoons was actually discovered 7,000 years ago, more or less 7,000 years ago in China. There is a contribution of China, the production of the invention of silk. So the techniques of making silk was very critical, and it remained kept silent for 1,000 years, and they only use the silk textiles inside their country. They never disclose the formula to make silk textiles to anyone. But 2,000 years ago, some people on foot, horseback, on camel's back carried silks with them, following some paths from China to outside the world and to other countries, and that particular path known as the Silk Route. So look at the page number 84, those have old NCERT book. Page number 84 in new NCERT book it is also present. I think it is page number 79 or page number 75. So you can see that the page number, because I have old NCERT book, so I cannot tell you properly the page number. So it is actually old NCERT book, it is page number 84 in the last of your chapter number 8, Ashoka, the king who gave up war. So after that chapter, after the exercises, you can find out this type of map, and in that map it is in this map it is clearly mentioned the silk routes. So you can see that these silk routes controlled by different traders in different time period, and those routes are mentioned with brown. These are the routes under the control of Chinese rulers. The deep green, it is the routes were under the control of Kushanas, and the light green, it is the route important sea routes, it is the light green, and the red colored routes, these routes were under the control of the rulers of Iran. Today's Iran, at that time known as Persia, and the pink colored routes, these are the routes were controlled by the Roman Emperor. The colors may be varied, but because in different editions the colored change. So some students already mentioned me. So it does not matter. You just check the routes. And Chinese, Indians, Iranians, Arabs, Greeks, Romans, etc., all the different people from different countries and empires, they also participated in this exchange and the silk trade at that time. And the ports along with the coast of South India were also important at the time in this silk trade. And Paduka, South India, it is also an important place. It is Roman name Adikamedu. It's also an important place of silk trade and other commodities at that time. So now back to our chapter number 10. It is page number 102. Now you have seen that in this way the silk trade spreaded all over the world, and silk was expensive at that time, so it had to be brought all the way from China along some dangerous routes through mountains, deserts, etc. So you can see in this board I have clearly mentioned all the trade routes. It is not an actual map, but though I have tried to draw that some routes you can see their passes inside India. So it is Bihar, so through the Sikkim, it is also through the Tibet, it enters into China, some parts also through Arunachal Pradesh, or today's country, so also passes, and some trade routes and seaports also there. Some ports are from Bengal, some from Odisha, some from Bengal, and some from Tamil Nadu, some are from Kerala, okay, Gujarat, and it is also passes through our northern India, through Punjab and Kashmir, and here our today's Pakistan, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, and through Peshawar, this region, through Central Asia, up to Central Asia and Europe. And in this way also from today's Iran or Persia, some routes also there through the Gulf of Persia. It is the Arabian Peninsula, you can see through the Gulf of Persia, these routes also spreaded at that time. So the land routes and the sea routes both are dangerous because these are precious commodities. So some people, those are living on those regions, those people living on those regions beside these routes or in the middle of these routes, they often collected taxes or payments for allowing traders to pass through. So the silk routes, and so some kings also tried to control the large portions of the route. I have already told you that how different kings, the kings of Persia, the kings of China, the Kushanas in India, and also the Central Asian rulers also controlled the routes. Why they did so? Because they could benefit from the taxes given by the traders, and tributes and gifts that were brought by traders traveling along the routes for the king. Why they brought tributes and gifts, and also they had given some taxes, because they often protecting the traders from who passed through their kingdoms from the robbers. So the robbers and the pirates, they always try to plunder those goods. So that's why the kings protected them from the outside attacks. So the best known of the rulers who control this silk route are the Kushanas. I have already mentioned the Kushanas, okay. And you can see the Kushana Empire, the portion here along with the northwestern part and northern part of India, the Kushanas was one of the most important rulers or an empire, and who controlled the silk routes. You can see that Indian silk routes totally controlled by the Kushanas. And the Kushana empire was established 2000 more or less 2000 years ago, mainly third century, means it is in 3rd AD. So the first ruler of the Kushana empire is the Kujala Kadphises. Kujala Kadphises established Kushana empire. After that, Bhima Taktu, Bhima Kadphises, and the most important ruler of this Kushana dynasty, it is the Kanishka. And there are two major administrative towns or major cities are, one is in Peshawar, at the time known as Purushpur, or Peshawar today in Pakistan is and another one, it is the Mathura. Mathura, it is the middle in UP today, Uttar Pradesh, and these are the two centers, the Purushpur or Peshawar today and Mathura. These are the two places and the two important cities and administrative towns of the Kushanas, and as well as the Takshila. Takshila also included, and the places included their territory. The Takshila University also. So during their rule, a branch of silk route extended from Central Asia down to the seaports situated on the mouth of river Indus. So you can see that the mouth of river Indus, this another there in a seaport, these trade routes also spreaded from Peshawar, Purushpur to the mouth of river Indus. River Indus also flown in this direction from Tibet through Kashmir, and then it is also flown inside our today's Pakistan. So at that time also, when these divisions are not there, no India Pakistan was there, so all the territories are together. So that time also some seaports, the silk also traded, and those commodities traveled up to the Roman Empire through these seaports, through the Gulf of Persia and also the Red Sea. These those commodities, the silk, also traveled up to the Roman Empire. And the Kushanas, the most important work of the Kushanas amongst the earliest rulers of the subcontinent, these are the earliest rulers of the subcontinent who issued the gold coin. Okay, so most important role of the Kushanas, that they also introduced gold coin in our Indian subcontinent, and these were also used by the traders on the silk trade. So students, that's all from today's class. I hope you have understood the story of the Kushanas and the silk route. Okay, so if you see the page number 84 and 85 of the page just after the chapter number 8, you can easily understood the entire silk route. This map is also drawn beautifully on that page. Okay, so that's all from today's class. See you in the next class with another subunit. Bye everyone.